I would write a LinkedIn post and just ship it. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't polished. It was okay. And then I would do it again and again. And you fast forward like 7 years and okay, I have authority. People are like, okay, how do I get authority? And it's like, well, I basically showed up every day for 7 years.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Authority Architects by 7 Wonders. Today, we have Bradley Jacobs. Bradley's the founder and CEO of MyLance, making business development and finding new clients for consultants and fractional executives sustainable over time. With more than a decade in operations and strategy and marketplace growth, he's launched Uber Eats in cities like Miami, Milan, managed rides across 9 North Carolina markets, and led carrier operations at Uber Freight as it scaled towards a billion-dollar venture. Thank you so much for joining, Bradley.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Your experience, obviously, Bradley, aligns a lot with our audience and folks that are familiar with 7 Wonders and in the marketing space. Can you give just a little bit of background? What drew you to this space, and elaborate a little bit on some of that background of that we just read here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got an amazing experience at Uber and, super fast paced, just thrown into the fire, figure it out, launch new markets. It's like there is a playbook, but you're also kind of making it up as you go. And, you can't screw up or you get fired. So it's a hell of a place to learn. But I had a lot of success there and I was building these businesses for them and frankly was sick of building businesses for somebody else. That's really what it came down to. I always had that entrepreneurial spirit within me. So I eventually just quit. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do yet. I know I want to build a business. I just don't know what yet. And I started consulting and experimenting with a bunch of different just businesses, right? I would got into the e-commerce space for a minute. I was consulting. I started a blog. I shut down a blog. I did a recruiting placement. I was in this experimentation, almost prototyping phase of my life. And the consulting stuff just took off. I mean, my first client was about $25K a month. And I was like, whoa, it kind of blew me away of what was possible in a part-time work capacity. I mean, I was immediately making more than my Uber salary in 25 hours a week. So it opened my eyes up into this whole world that I didn't know existed. And I started writing content on LinkedIn. I'm like, here's what I'm experiencing. Here's what I'm learning. This is really interesting. And people just started coming to me like, hey, can I talk to you? Can I talk to you? Can I talk to you? And that's really where MyLance was founded. Because in the middle of one of those conversations, I was like, you know what? I'll help you, right? Just give me a cut of your revenue for the next 6 months. I'll help you launch your business. I'll help you find clients, we'll go along for this journey. And she said yes on the phone. And I didn't have a product, I had nothing. So I was like, okay, we're going to build this airplane as we fly it. And so anyways, it's a longer story, but basically that was the genesis of MyLance of, seeing the opportunity out there, experiencing it myself. And then over the journey of MyLance, realizing the number one problem to solve here is how do I find clients sustainably? How do I make this business work over the long haul? Finding clients, in general is hard, much less as a business of one where I may not have sales and marketing experience or background, know what the hell I'm doing with B2B sales. So we've been on a multi-year long journey to just demystify B2B sales for the consultant, build tools to support them, build community. We have our own podcast, newsletter, blog, resources, you name it, to support the journey.
So I have a question for you, Bradley, and this is such an interesting journey that you took, going from corporate to then consulting to now starting your own venture, and having a very successful venture. I mean, for us, a lot of people will falter. What we hear is in the entrepreneurial stage or even in the consulting stage, because they don't have that mindset switch, right? There's that mindset switch that needs to happen when you're doing your own thing. I'm curious from you though, a part of it too is about the authority that you have. So people know you as someone who works at a company. How did you establish yourself as a independent and then also establish your business and your credibility in that space? I feel like that's a really tough thing to do.
It is, and I can't say it's an overnight thing. I mean, it's tons of imposter thoughts and imposter syndrome came up as I I mean, I would literally check in with myself in my early days of my consulting business because it felt too good to be true. And I didn't have a manager and I didn't have structure and I didn't have someone telling me I was doing a good job. So I had to check in with myself like, okay, well, I'm paying my bills and I'm not doing anything illegal and like everything's fine, right? So it was a journey, frankly, of rewiring my brain to be okay with the lack of structure, with the like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just figuring it out each day and moving forward and learning. I made tons of mistakes along the way. And I have to believe it myself before I can kind of really put myself out there online. And frankly, what I did is I didn't pretend I was something I'm not. Like I would share my journey genuinely as I was doing it. I was like, this is how I got this client. I feel like I kind of got lucky and this is what I'm going to do now. And then I had got a business partner and we just figured it out together. And so I guess it's a long-winded way of saying that I just started putting things out there without worrying what was going to happen on the back end. Like I would write a LinkedIn post and just ship it, right? It wasn't perfect and it wasn't polished. It was okay. And then I would do it again and again and again and again. And you fast forward like 7 years and okay, I have authority, right? But people are like, okay, how do I get authority? And it's like, well, people ask me all the time, how do you get 24,000 on LinkedIn, 24,000 followers? I'm like, I basically showed up every day for 7 years. Like there's no quick hacks here. Like that's my takeaway from it.
What you're saying there is so powerful because we're in an age of authenticity. Like people want to see the genuine person that is building this thing. And I mean, everything that you said, it's an overnight success that takes 7 years, right? Like it takes time of showing up. That's really, really powerful and interesting. What in that journey of putting those pieces together, building the plan as you fly it, what is something that has shifted in your perspective? Where you came into starting a business, building authority, and you're like, this, I have a conception of what this is, and oh my gosh, it has completely just shifted and been changed.
The initial course I built, because I was helping these people one-on-one, and then it became a cohort-based course, and then I like 10x the price, and it became this big coaching program. And in the early days, so a lot of that program was content, right? I was writing up all the best practices that I had learned, and I was sharing it and giving them exercises, and they would send it back. And in advertising now the coaching course, because I was now trying to enroll people in it, I was scared to give away the contents of the course because I felt like I was giving away my secret sauce and that no one would join if I was just giving it away freely on LinkedIn or in my newsletter. And that has completely shifted. Like I give away everything now. And what I think is, or what honestly I know to be true is, let's say I have 100 pages of in my course of content and I publish it across like 1,000 LinkedIn posts in 3 years. That is not going to hold you back from doing the program. You are not going to piece together 1,000 LinkedIn posts, be like, oh, I got Bradley's course, and so I'm good. I don't need to pay for it. That is not going to hold anybody back. And if it holds one person back, so be it, right? That person, good for them. And the other people that are like, oh, actually, all of this content legitimizes Bradley's course. I see he knows what he's talking about. There's authenticity. It's genuine. It's real. It's tangible. And so now I give away everything. Like I don't keep a single secret at all. Like it's all in our blog. It's all in our newsletter. It's all in my LinkedIn content. Because frankly, just giving away that value to me is the best way to legitimize myself. And I'm not asking for anything. I might ask for like, sign up for our newsletter if you want more. But this is the only thing I'll ask for. Everything is just a give. And people come to me all the time. Like I learned so much from your podcast. I learned so much here. And then they want to work with me. Like it's just kind of a paradox that I used to believe, like, don't give away too much. But now I'm like, you can't give away enough.
It's a tough balance, right? Because like it's hard to convince someone to give something away for free when they have this like guarded mentality. I think it's almost old world versus new world, or old guard versus the new era, where people will just give out things for free, and the newer generation is so transparent, where the older generation might have not spoken about certain things, even like salaries. I feel like the younger generation's a lot more likely to have conversations around that stuff than the older generation would have. Just speaking generally from my personal anecdotal experience, I don't know, there's no statistics behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the consumer is so skeptical these days, and I don't blame them. I am too, right? Like we get pitched the moon, sun, earth, and the stars, and then a lot of companies just don't deliver. And so if I can do anything to show you that we are legitimate, that we like really do the work, we go the extra mile, we're going to show up for you, you're going to pay, you're going to get what you pay for and then some. Anything I can do to like alleviate that skepticism that exists in our world today, I'm going to do, right? So I'm going to show you the product screenshots. I'm going to tell you how it works. I'm going to tell you our process. And if you want to go do it yourself, good on you. Truly. Like if you want to go, people are like, oh, it's so easy to build that SaaS tool that you built. Great. Go do it. Please. Like by all means, right? Like go to Lovable and go play around. And if you build your own, props to you.
So clearly you use a lot of LinkedIn and like text-based work and some images. What other ways have been great for you to get the word out there about what you're doing?
I mean, video is massive, right? Because there's nothing like seeing your face, hearing your voice, connecting human to human, right? Even if it's virtual, it is absolutely a trust building piece. Pretty much everything I do from a authority building space is trying to mimic a referral, right? Because if you know me and you refer someone to me, then they trust me. Like that trust is just transferred. So I'm trying to build trust, which then mimics a referral, and it's the highest converting channel. We all know that. So video is one of the best ways to do that. And it's one of the reasons I launched my podcast, because the written stuff was great and working really well, but I was recording finally it took me like 3 years to like record a video on LinkedIn, but I finally did it and it did great. And then I started recording more and more and I was like, hold on a sec. There's a more scalable way to do this because I'm saying the same information to the same people. So if I record a video, whether it's with a guest like we're doing here or just on my own, that video then is actually the top of my content pyramid. So I take my podcast and I turn it into a blog, a newsletter, LinkedIn posts, and tweets. And the video then becomes the long form video, obviously on the podcast and YouTube, but then short form on everywhere else, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and YouTube Shorts. So in one podcast, I cover like every platform I really care about. And it's all kind of, you're just chopping up the same piece of content like 50 different ways.
It's funny, like the past two answers to the past two questions are like a walking billboard for what we do, which is, I mean, what you just described as kind of that tiered content structure is like exactly what we advocate for our customers. And the program that we do is running that for customers. And what you said earlier about what your product is, if someone wants to go and replicate that on their own, great. Like we say to them, it is better than doing nothing. Like if you're not going to hire us, record yourself on Zoom, record yourself on Loom, like do it. But also, if you want it to be done professionally, like that's where we're a resource. And I love what you say about do everything you can to mimic a referral. Like I've not heard even our service offering framed that way, but that is so true and so powerful about this format and why it's so successful in a lot of ways, which is really, really cool.
I also say that because all of our customers, they find their first few clients from referrals, right? It's all they know is like referrals, 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 referrals. So I'm like, great, your goal, your job now is to create that channel in a different way because it goes only so far as an organic referral channel, right? So so that's why I use that language too. It like resonates with it's like, again, use the language your ideal customer knows and relates to, and it'll land strongly for them.
We like to say sometimes your podcast should be your top performing salesperson. Like basically your podcast becomes its own life form, basically. Like it's there forever. People can find the resources on YouTube, audio, like you're saying, see the clips. So it definitely helps establish that initial relationship with the prospect so that they feel like they know you when they get on a call with you, which is really, really powerful.
Could you talk a little bit about the impetus that you had? So obviously you wanted to leave. You had this entrepreneurial spirit at Uber when you were there and you wanted to leave. You started consulting. What then led you to start MyLance? Like what was that moment where you're like, oh my God, I'm going to start this?
I had been looking for this idea. I wanted to basically align a real big problem and opportunity with a passion. Like it wasn't enough for just a big opportunity because honestly, I would have gone into the freight space. Like it's a huge space. It's super antiquated. It's not going anywhere. I'm very well equipped to succeed there, but I'm not passionate about that space. So I was kind of like looking for this cross section of passion and market opportunity. And it just hit me that I did not leave Uber to go help 2, 3, 4, 5 clients at a time. It just wasn't enough. It wasn't my purpose. It wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't, the money was great. The lifestyle was great. I was like, I could do this forever. Right. But it wasn't, I didn't want to go build a consulting company and like sell time for money. I'd come from the Uber world, which was like product and, some of the best product market fit you've ever seen. And, working with millions of customers at one time. And I was like, I am here on this planet to have a bigger impact than 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clients at a time. Like I'm here to help millions of people. And when I experienced the part-time way of life, the part-time clients and make good money and all of that, I was like, if people can do this, if we can make this easier for people to do it, then they can go live these fulfilling lives within and outside of work, right? They have time for the hobbies and families. And then I started talking to single moms who, want to be able to work while their kid is sleeping. Or I talked to other women who struggle with the gender pay gap and consulting allows them to command whatever rates they want. Like I really started to build this passion for this space and what it creates, what it enables for so many different kinds of people. I was like, this is game changing and really challenging. It is really challenging to run a one-person business. So this space needs me. Like the space needs me to create tools so that it can just become easier and easier and easier. And that's been the journey.
Bradley, I'm curious because we've referenced that you were, at Uber, you did consulting, you started. What is a takeaway? I mean, Uber is one of the most recognizable brands in the world these days. What is a brand marketing takeaway that you learned during your time at Uber that you implement in your business today that you think would make for good advice to brand marketers out there?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I'm going to answer it from it's a little bit branding, but it's a little bit more go-to-market using a specific strategy. And so it's actually my most viral LinkedIn post that I've ever written. It talks about Uber and Lyft launching in Raleigh, the first market I managed back in 2014, the exact same day. It was like a race. It was like, who can get there first? And we ended up literally doing the exact same day. And fast forward 6 months, and in the entire triangle, so that's Durham, Raleigh, and Chapel Hill, Uber had 90% market share. And
Wow.
You keep in mind, same product, like basically identical. We were copying each other, right? Same pricing model. So why did Uber get 90% market share and Lyft 10 in 6 months in the exact same day of launch?
Because Bradley Jacob, no,
it was me. It was all me, guys. No, but the real answer is it's a longer story, but the short story is Uber launched in a 7-mile radius in Raleigh. That's it. We didn't launch in Durham. We didn't launch in Chapel Hill. Lyft on that same day launched everywhere. And so their ETAs to get a car was on average like 25 minutes. Our ETAs, even though we were much restricted in the population, were under 5 minutes. And that was the Uber like gold standard, under 5 minutes. So and that was game changing at the time, right? Before it was like, you call a taxi, it takes an hour. It's a whole horrible experience. We were like revolutionizing this and our experience was way better. So while we were optimizing the rider experience in Raleigh, we were then recruiting drivers in Durham and recruiting drivers in Chapel Hill. So 3 months later, when we launched, we had this massive cohort of drivers in each place. And we never had ETAs in any place longer than 5 minutes. So I tell this whole story because the takeaway for any business owner and any consultant even is that the more narrowly focused you can be, and you can be the best in the world at your narrowly focused segment, the better off you're going to be, even if you are limiting right? The 7 mile radius versus the like 100 mile radius, and apply that to whatever that means for your business. But when anyone tells me like they built this tool for, all of the startup founders, I'm like, okay, you are doing 100 mile radius, right?
Yeah.
Like build the best freaking thing for one thing and be so incredibly good at that before you expand. And Uber did that in every city, including Uber Eats. When we launched Miami, I think we did like a 3 mile radius. It was tiny. It was so small. Yeah. And it was like, Miami's huge, right? And we were so disciplined about it. It's like, no, it's going to be this tiny, tiny, tiny radius in Brickell. That's it. And then, fast forward a few months and you expand, but you got to nail it first.
That's most of the volume of Uber Eats, I'm sure, is Brickell and South Beach, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think South Beach was right after Brickell when we eventually expanded, but I don't even think we served South Beach at the very beginning because it's going to take, it takes like 20 minutes to get across that bridge sometimes.
Yeah.
And you go from a 30-minute delivery time to a 50-minute delivery time. And you got to think about what is the user experience in that 30 minutes to 50. 30 minutes is great. 50 minutes is not. For delivery. That's the difference. So that's the takeaway.
That's really, really powerful. I mean, because the tricky thing is you have to, and I'm sure that this is what you help clients with all the time, but it's like you have to figure out the way to apply that, like to apply that advice. Because I would imagine that there's a way that people can misapply that and be good at nothing, like, or be too small of an area, and not have it not work. But the overarching lesson there is really, really interesting and makes a lot of sense.
And to your point, it is incredibly difficult to apply it yourself, including me. I'm amazing at doing it for other people, but when I do it for my own business, I go get support. Truly, like I go talk to someone else. And it's actually really funny when like the best marketers in the world, they come to me and they're like, I just cannot figure out my go-to-market segment, my niche, my ICP. Like I can't do it. I'm like, you're not alone. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Like doing this on your own, we all have blind spots about our businesses and nobody wants to narrow down. You want to like, I want to serve everybody. It's like, well, then you serve nobody. Right. So you need support. Not a pitch for me, but you need support, a sounding board to really like pull it out and force you to narrow down.
Bradley, as we come to a close here, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of state your mission in your words. You've given a little bit of context to your business and your brand and how you help folks, but what is on the horizon? What excites you most heading into the final quarter of this year and next year and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I tell people it's like showing up on LinkedIn is just the lowest hanging fruit. And people have a bad rap on LinkedIn, but it's like, look, I don't care what anybody else is doing. If you show up or when you show up genuinely and authentically, and you just tell stories from the first person point of view, your customers, your clients are on LinkedIn. Like it is such a the people that are not showing up on LinkedIn, I can't wrap my head around it. It makes no sense to me. You can add new connections, publish content, build trust. It works. And so we're just improving on our tool every single day just to make it easier and more authentic to be writing and showing up on LinkedIn. It's what's worked for me. It's completely changed my life. Like I've been on podcasts and invited to shows and speaker series and attracted all of our clients through LinkedIn. And then the last thing I would just say is it's about consistency. Like if you hate it, like choose a different method, right? Because you got to do it for years. So it's got to be something that you genuinely enjoy. And if the only thing that's holding you back is fear, find a way. Like the way might be like you write the post and you have somebody else post it for you. Like I don't care. Like find a way. But just like, or click post and then like close your eyes and run away and like, go to the gym. Whatever you got to do, there's a lot of fear running the show here, and that just kind of holds people back from growing the businesses that they really want. So come check us out, mylance.co, or come check me out, Bradley Jacobs on LinkedIn. Super easy to get in touch with me and would love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Bradley. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Bradley.
Absolutely. It was great.